You cannot have wealth if you don't have freedom. And the Trump executive order on the flag burning is just something that I am very opposed to for a lot of reasons. My name is Rich Lennon. We talk about growing the wealth every morning from 8 to 8:10, kind of depending on my kids' bus schedule. And today I'm going to talk about the executive order that Trump put out there. Now, I stay away from politics like it's the third rail. Don't ever want to talk about it, but I felt compelled to do so. And I decided to take the tact of, hey, how does this affect our wealth building? Because this is a show, it's a podcast that we talk about growing the money. And yeah, so I decided to take that tact and that perspective, and I want to review monetarily why this is such a bad thing. I want to try to put the politics aside. Our job as business owners, as people who are trying to build wealth, is to get rid of all the noise and like drill down and find out non politicized ways that we can grow our wealth and take care of our family and the security of the ones that we love. There is no wealth without freedom, and I'm going to use China as an example. There's a lot of people who like to spout out that maybe the U.S. will not be the world's currency, and that there's going to be something that will replace the United States as the world's currency. And there's a lot of hubbub and talk about this. That's what BRICS is all about, and they often point to the idea that the yuan will be the currency that takes over the world for the world currency. And the reason that that can't happen is because the people in China are not free. And if the yuan became the world currency, then all the wealth would leave China. And so, one of the importance of the world currency is that it's very liquid and that you can move your money around. If you're in Saudi Arabia, you can do it. If you're in France, you can do it. If you're in Denmark, you can do it. If you're in Africa, you can do it. If you're in Australia, you can do it. It's the ease and liquidity of the US dollar and the ability to move it. So if the yuan ever became the world's currency, then all the wealth would leave China because China is run by a dictatorship. They don't have freedom. And the concern, and rightfully so, of the powers that be in China, Xi, are that if the yuan ever became the world's currency, that all the money would just leave. It's another reason why that they don't allow crypto, because crypto is a way that all the money from China could just leave. And China is not a free state, and therefore it will never be allowed to be that world currency. We just look at, well, what was his name? I wrote it down. Jack Ma, right? Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, was a good example of this, where he stepped up and criticized the state. I don't know. Sometimes, where did he do that? Like around 2020, 2019, 2020, he stepped up and he said he criticized the state, and even the billionaire that created Alibaba just kind of fell off the earth for a couple of months. Maybe he's laying low, right? But he's getting some re-education by the Chinese government, and it was a clear indication to everybody in that state that you had to do what the state says, and it didn't matter if you were a billionaire or not. And therefore, even though you're wealthy in China, you're truly not wealthy because you're not secure. You don't have your freedom. You don't have your freedom to leave. You don't have your freedom to take your money with you. And so freedom is what makes the U.S. the currency of the world, not all the economic factors that go along with it. And and the flag burning issue is so relevant to me, perhaps because I was in high school when 1989 Johnson versus Texas, and the Supreme Court ruled that that flag burning was a constitutionally protected right. Some guy named Mr. Johnson came down. I think it was the Republican National Convention. He burned the flag. Texas got involved and said, you know what? You can't burn a flag. And it's desecration of whatever rule they used. It was a desecration. And therefore, Mr. Johnson, you are guilty. And ultimately went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled that it is a constitutionally protected right, that you have the right to burn the American flag. Now, I'm not a fan of burning the American flag. You will never see Rich Lennon burn the American flag. You'll never see Rich Lennon's kids burn the American flag. If someone wants to burn American flag, I'm very against that. I don't like it. But the point of freedom is such that just because I'm offended doesn't mean I can take the right away from you. And specifically, a constitutionally protected right that has been defined by the Supreme Court. And we can't overlook the importance of this as we build our wealth and we try to protect our families with it. He Trump cannot sign an executive order creating a law. He can't do that. And and oh, it just drives me crazy. He can't just create an executive order to create a law. The executive branch doesn't create laws. He can lead a group to make a constitutional amendment that says that you cannot burn a flag. I would vote for that constitutional amendment. I'm not in a position to vote, but I would want my delegate to vote for that. I would be fine with that. But we enter a period of lawlessness when the executive branch creates laws that are in direct violation of a constitutionally protected activity without changing the Constitution. And that is offensive. And if you are going to create wealth somewhere, you need to make sure that you can protect that wealth with the freedom. And if you're offended that the flag got burned, good. So am I. But being an American means that the minority and the small groups have a right to protest. And if we take that away, we take away some of the fundamental rights that it is to be an American. And I think it's very significant. And I do think that if you're trying to build wealth, you need to pay attention to things like this and you need to get ahead of them. This is an example of like, I'm going to take some of my money and put it offshore. This is a terrible direction to go. You cannot change the Constitution on a whim. You cannot do that from the executive position. And Trump tried to do that by saying that, okay, if they're illegal, if they are doing some illegal activity that we don't approve of, it just wasn't very long ago that we were all involved in COVID. And you couldn't even go to church because the government told you what you had to do. And we're only a couple years removed from that. And we all know that that was a really terrible thing. Or at least I hope we know that's a really terrible thing. But now it seems to be there's some groups of people that just biased by their politics that say that whatever Mr. Trump does is okay, and therefore we should just accept it and support it no matter what. I think being an American is speaking out, and it's me being on a microphone today, talking to my audience, is me speaking out saying that you got to fight things like this. This is wrong. And if you want to amend the Constitution, I'm all for it. But when we start to outlaw things that offend us, this is really what China does. And if we lose the world's currency because we go down this totalitarian mindset, then we are in big trouble if we're building wealth. My kids won't be able to do with their wealth what they want to do it. And I'm going to leave you with this final thought, and I want you to look up a book, right? And the book is like, what is it? 3 Felonies a Day. Let me make sure I get the author right. 3 Felonies a Day by Harvey Silvergate. And basically what it says is that the government makes so many rules and regulations that you unknowingly and unwittingly and unintentionally commit maybe 3 felonies a day. And now when we say, okay, now that you're committing a crime, now you can't do a constitutional activity. Well, the truth is that everybody commits all crimes all the time, every day. And that means all of us lose our rights. I don't know. It just bothers me. I know I never talk politics. I'm sure no one will listen to this today. But I just felt the need to go on the mic and say, man, this is bad. And I support a lot of what our government is currently doing. Big fan of most of the policy decisions that have been made. But man, this one I just absolutely cannot get behind. And yeah, this is terrible. And I encourage you to speak out. I encourage you to use your voice. And you need to protect your wealth. And you won't have it for long if the executive branch can just make executive orders that take away your constitutionally protected rights. And you might like today's administration, but you might not like the administration that's in here in 4 years or 8 years or 12 years. And I don't know. I thought that we were headed in a different direction here, and I hope this one is reconsidered. All right, my name is Rich Lennon. Yeah, don't look me up after this one. I'm just kind of ranting today. I'm just disappointed. I think it's terrible. All right, everybody have a great day.